All right. Hello. Hi. How are you? Welcome back. If you're new here, hello. Hi. This is the Hairy Knit. My name is Bash Harry, hence the Hairy Knit. And this is a podcast episode where we just talk about yarn and FOs and whips that we've been doing over the course of the past month, I would say. This one, I think I'm filming a little bit earlier than I thought I would, but that's okay. I don't think I'm gonna finish any FOs by the time that June rolls around, so that's okay. It's been a very interesting month. I don't know if you saw like the last two videos, but I mentioned that I basically lost all my data from my hard drive because my laptop crashed while my hard drive was connected to it, which meant that I lost basically all my files, like very few JPEGs, but not any of the videos that I was filming. One of my sister and my vest that I was knitting up. So I had to basically start all over, and it was a very, I don't want to use the word traumatizing, but it was a very sad experience. So yeah, that was basically what my May ended up. I think that was like the most defining thing that happened in my May, apart from Raya and going back to work, which feels okay. Like, to me personally, I work as a DJ, so talking to a mic or to a large amount of people doesn't feel so scary as it used to, but being on a podcast or just talking to a video podcast about my knits definitely feels a lot more fun, I guess. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So grab your coffee, grab your knit, and we can just chat about things, some finished objects, some whips, some yarn acquisitions that I didn't talk about previously, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, that is it from me. I hope you're doing well. I hope May has been good to you. I know a lot of people are heading into the summer months right now, so a lot of people are starting their summer knits. I'm wearing one of mine, well, technically a summer knit. This is actually crochet. This is like the very first crochet top that I made back in, I want to say September, October. I have a video on it on my other channel, but this is what it looks like, and I added like daisies just to make it look a little cuter. And this one uses Caron Simply Soft, I think. This is acrylic. It's what my mom had, and so I just started using it, and I really like it, but I don't know if I'm going to continue crocheting crop tops. I think I much prefer knitting garments, but that is a whole other story for another day. But it matches my little scrunchie and my earrings that are knits that are locally made. Most of the earrings that I wear on this channel are locally made, which I absolutely love. Plus I get to support local businesses, which is great. These are birthday gifts. Has anything happened recently that you should be updated about? No, not really. I mean, my room renovation is going to be moved to July, so you might see more of this for at least another month before we move on. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much about that. I want to talk more about my FOs. And the first FO that we're going to talk about is this one. It is my Awan Vest self pattern, I think, drafted, knitted up by me. So you saw this in the last podcast. I think I was knitting up the front piece, I think. I'm not 100% certain. But this one uses Hobby Diablo Multi in the color Peachy Pink, I think. And this is what it looks like. It is so fuzzy. I wanted to make a vest for a very long time. I wanted something that looked very school oriented, very preppy, but still very fun. I wanted something with slightly higher of a neckline, although I think this might be a little too high, and thick ribbing on the sides. I don't know how else to describe it, but I'm very proud of my very first knit garment that I made. It's currently being tech edited. Tech editing takes way longer than I thought because she found some issues on the pattern that I didn't realize, and so we're still working on the final 3 sizes, and hopefully it'll all be sorted by next week because that's when I'll be sending it out to the test knitters that have been chosen, and that's exciting. I never really thought I would be able to knit a pattern, mostly because I had the assumption, like a lot of people, that knitting was only for the colder months, but that is not true. You can make things that are for summer, for spring, or for any season really, and I think this kind of piece is it's a really good piece to wear for any season. I wear it out and I don't get hot at all. It has the ribbing here, and it also has an I-cord neckline, just because that's what I prefer. And this one will hopefully start being test knitted next weekish, and I'm aiming for a July release, but I can't confirm that. It's only based on how the test knitters react to it, and I hope that the pattern is easy to read. It's very important to me that a pattern is well written and that it's something that a lot of people can understand. I'm including tutorials and hopefully a walkthrough once I sort out the test knit. This one is inclusive of 9 sizes. I hope soon enough that I could extend that from 5XL to at least 3 more sizes, and maybe even an extra small if I could, because I want people to be able to knit this up with whatever size that they do. This is a size M. It is a size M, and it's about 39 inches on a 34 bust. I usually go for something that is slightly fitter, so I personally like going 1 or 2 sizes, like 1 or 2 sizes down, mostly because I like a fitted garment, but because this is a sample, I wanted to know how it would look like on a size medium and what is the general standardized sizing, I guess. So that is what it is. It's boxy, it's cropped, but you have the option to lengthen it in the garment, in the pattern, so that's no worries. It is really exciting to make a pattern. I get a little bit of a rush writing up the pattern, even though it's such a headache sometimes. But I am so glad that I did, and I'm really happy that I was able to knit this up. I was also really happy that I filmed it, and then my laptop crashed. So it didn't happen the way I thought it would be, but maybe that's a good thing, so I can start knitting up another one and make a better video. I'm trying to look at the silver lining to it all. This is made using Hobby Diablo Multi. It's super bulky yarn, but honestly, you could put maybe like lace weight and just held 5 together, which I'll probably do for the next sample that I make. This one is just a very fuzzy, fluffy gal. That's the reason why it's called Awan, because Awan means cloud in Bahasa Melayu Brunei, I think. And I wanted to name my patterns after like Malay words, because I think that would be a really great way to kind of embrace my culture, even as small and insignificant as it may seem to others. I think it's a really cute way just to include my culture and my heritage. Minor things. This is obviously just a test sample that I made up. The actual pattern might be slightly different here and there because I realized just a few things that I wanted to change, but hopefully not too substantial that it would affect the actual piece and for the test knitters as well. Let me know if you want like a video on what's it like designing clothes. Not to say like I'm an expert at it, because obviously I'm not. I literally only made one so far, but I've learned quite a lot about grading, which very hard, and no one told me about it, how it does use a lot of math. And I wish I listened more in math class, because it hurt my brain. There were a lot of hours spent just trying to figure out all the math and making sure everything was correct, but that is another video for another day, because honestly, way too exhausting to do in just a podcast. So just let me know if you want like a whole video about the pros and cons of like designing your own garment. Not to say I'm the expert, of course, but you know, maybe you want it from a more beginner level. The next thing I made is also another self pattern. This is what I'm gonna call the Bandar Beanie. I haven't weaved in the ends yet, so it kind of looks like a little jellyfish. This one uses Sidar Bonus Hayfeel Super Chunky, I think, with 10mm needles. So this is a super chunky knit. You can see it right there, how chunky it is. But this one, I'm planning on making a free tutorial on it, and I want to make a free pattern on how to make this beanie. It's super beginner friendly. It's good if you just want a quick knit. This honestly took me less than an hour to knit the stockinette. So if you just like put on a TV show, you could finish this in almost no time. And I wanted something that was slightly oversized, although this one I think could fit most head shapes because it's about 17 centimeters and it stretches. And I wanted something that you could fold over. So if you fold it over, of course, it's going to look a little bit smaller. And I'm wearing a scrunchie, so I don't really want to ruin my hair right now. But it should look a little bit like this, and it fits most head shapes, I would say. I was thinking of making a beanie for a while now. I think this is the third one that I made called the Bandar Beanie, because I kept frogging it, redoing it, because either the gauge was off, the length was off, or something was going on that I didn't really like it, and I wanted to make a pattern that was easy enough to write. At one point I was like, you know what, maybe we could make different sizes, but then I realized sizing a hat that already fits most people would be a little difficult. If anything, I would probably do like kid sizes and then adult sizes, but even then the margins are so small, especially with a chunky beanie, that I think most people could make this for a kid or a teenager or like an adult man or adult woman, and it'd still be fine. So this is just going to be a one size free pattern, and hopefully the video will be out next month. I'm going to knit another one in another color. I think I got the color pumpkin, I think, so this would be really cute. We're also going to do some photo shoots with this, and I'm probably going to drag my sister along to take the photos. I'm also going to add a little pom-pom on the second one, I think, because I think it'll be really cute with a little pom-pom. Makes it a little bit more fresh, more funky. So that is the plan. A lot of the FOs that I've done uses like chunky needles, and that's probably because it's the quickest to make relatively compared to fingering and DK weight yarn. But that isn't to say that I haven't worked on any like smaller needle projects, because I have, and they're the majority of what I've been working on right now. And I left one over there. Give me a second. So those were the FOs that I've made in the month of May, which doesn't feel like a lot, but it feels good to me being able to complete 2 designs with no pattern because I'm making them. I just have to remember that, you know, not everything's a competition, and just because some people may make more in the coming months doesn't mean that, you know, what you're doing isn't great. And I'm very proud of making these patterns. I hope I could write this up soon. I hope the Awan Vest Tech editing is complete soon as well, so I could send it off and have everything sorted. Let's move on really quickly to the whips. That took me way too long to remember. I've got three whips right now that I'm currently alternating with my time. I know I mentioned that I have a sweater, but I'm currently putting it on ice. I heard Kopikali say putting it on hold or like on ice because you're freezing it basically, and I think it's time for me to freeze that for now. I'm not gonna like rip it apart. I just don't think it would be good to do so because I still really like the project and I do want to work on it. It's just a little exhausting, especially since it's so light. So I'm working on about 3 projects right now. I'll talk about my Awan sample number 2 first. So I did mention that I'm planning on making different, I don't know if I mentioned it actually, but I'm knitting up a few more different sizes of my Awan vest because I want to see how it looks like on other sizes. This one is size number 1, so this is extra small, I believe. It looks like this. I haven't gotten a lot done because I just started casting it on yesterday. I did the ribbing, I'm doing the body right now. And this uses Drops Wish. This is not a lot of yarn left, but that is okay. I've got about 5 more, and I think what I'm going to do a little different is I'm not knitting it based on what I was knitting up with this. I'm doing it based on what the pattern says, because I think up to size 6 it's clear enough. So that's what I'm doing with extra small. Doing extra small because 1, I want to make another sample, and 2, like I said, the one that I made, the Awan Vest size 2, is just a sample knit, and it is, I think, 39 inches, so it is pretty oversized, and I wanted one that was a size down that I could wear maybe on its own. Plus, it's also for my sister, who is a smaller frame than me. She is a size 1. Usually she's a 30-inch bust, so a size 1 would fit her just right, and it would fit me more fitted. So that's what we're planning on doing. This is Drops Wish, which I mentioned in the last haul I did that I just got. It is baby alpaca, Pima cotton, and merino wool. Uses 9mm and uses 9mm. So in the original pattern I did say 8mm, but that's what was needed for this yarn. Obviously you should use the needles that gets the gauge or the gauge that you want. And I knitted up a swatch yesterday while I was at work, and I realized at 8mm it was too small even when I was knitting in the round. So 9mm was the way to go. And once it was blocked, I'm sure I can make it a little bit bigger, because that's the trick. Because when you're blocking, you have like a completely different pattern, I think, or like project or garment. Because when you block a project, your piece just blooms. I think that's what a lot of knitters call it. It just changes its shape a lot better. And you wet block it, you pin everything together, and it makes your garment look way more like what the knitter or like the knitwear designer intended, which is super cool. And I just realized it because when I wet blocked the Awan sample size, it looked super different from how it first started, and that's why we got the original or like the actual finished measurements. So just keep in mind with that. I think a lot of patterns do really well when it's blocked, and hopefully this one will also look good when it's blocked. That is the plan with the Awan Vest. I know it feels like a lot, and it definitely does. It does feel like I'm doing a lot for my very first pattern ever, but I wanted to make sure that it's something that's accessible and some people could understand, whether that is through the models that wear the pieces or for anyone who is reading it. So hopefully it all goes well. I can't be certain, of course, I'm talking about the future, but as of now, that is the plan. Let's move on to another whip that I've been working on, and you saw it in the last one as well. You saw it in the last podcast. It's a big boy now, which is why I switched bags. This is like my mom's really big crochet bag. This is the Made You Fall dress by Ocean Knits, and she is so close. She is so close to finishing. She is a beauty, I swear. I tried it on. Like, you can see the needles kind of lounging about, but I tried it on. She's very pretty. She's just above my knee right now, but I'm planning on making her longer. So I've got about a good 8 inches to go to finish the Made You Fall dress, and then once it's blocked, I cannot wait to wear it. Ocean Knits, the pattern itself, or the patterns she makes are super customizable, but because it's super customizable, I wouldn't say it's that beginner friendly, because not only do you need a ruler, but you also have to know what your preferences are, whether that is how you make your increases, how you decrease. A lot of it, I had to use a knitting calculator to make sure everything was up to my size. And I did some minor changes. In the original pattern, it's a long sleeve. I decided to go for a short sleeve like this and the ruffles, which were so cute. Although that being said, I did make an issue with the short rows. I don't know which one, but one of the sleeves is longer than the other because I had a problem with the short rows. I didn't do enough, or I think I missed one. But then I was just like, you know what? I can fix it in blocking, so that's okay. And so that's what it happened. I also made some changes to the skirt. The pattern itself calls for it to be the exact same width or the same circumference as your hips. But once it hit my width, my hip, the width, I decided to add some more inches. So I think every inch in length, I added an inch in width. So I made some increases. And then I stopped once it hit about 43 inches, which is about, I want to say 5 inches bigger than my hip, because I wanted it to be less of a tight fit and more of an A-line shape. I don't know if that was how it's going to look like once it's done, but those are just very minor things that I did because I wanted the dress to be slightly longer and I didn't want it to be as tight-fitting. That being said, the waist hits my waist, and I actually think I should have went a size slightly bigger because it hits or like hugs my waist a little too well, if you know what I mean, because after lunch, it's not going to photograph well. I would say, though, that the yarn that I'm using is from THK, which is an online yarn seller here in Brunei, and I love the yarn she uses. It's one of the few times, or one of the few ways I can get variegated yarn, and this is 100% cotton, which is perfect for the weather here. I also think the bust is just slightly more bigger than I anticipated, but I think that's because, yes, it is a cotton, and I should have gone for something slightly smaller because it doesn't have a lot of elasticity, which I have to remember when it comes to knitting with cotton. I should always try to do a size down. I think as well, the hips, because my waist is pretty small compared to my hip, and it starts, the decreases or the increases start, so it's quite dramatic, which was worrying when I first started this pattern, but then once I actually worked on it, it ended up being all right. And my sister has tried it as well because she paid for half the yarn and I paid for the other half. So we're gonna try finishing up this within the next week or so, because 8 inches of stockinette is not too bad. It's definitely something that I could work on while I'm in the DJ booth, because usually that's just 3 hours of me sitting down working the system and then just watching some YouTube and knitting. So hopefully I'll be able to finish it because it's only about 8 inches more. That being said, this used to be well, it still is the pattern that I work on when I'm out, but it's just so big right now that I feel like it's really hard for me to carry it around without carrying that giant bag. The next whip that we have been knitting, is a test knit for Kira Knitly. That's not her actual name, but she goes by Kira now because that's like her Instagram name. And it is the summertime tote. She reached out to me after I applied for the test knit to do the daisy pattern. And you can barely see it because of the yellow. But if you look closely, it's very beautiful. I'm on the final repeats. There's a size small and a size large, but I decided to go for the size small. It's so beautiful, but I'm worried about the yellow and the white. I thought they would look nice together, but it's not noticeable, but the daisy pattern isn't as strong as I wish it was. Which is okay, right? It's fine. You can still see it. This one is Lily Sugar and Cream. So this one is a pattern that I wish I could bring out, but I can't. And the reason why is because the yarn is connected to these two giant cones. These are both 400 grams each. This one's in ecru, this one's in yellow, I think. So I decided to get the 400 grams one because I thought it would be really nice, and I love working with cotton, and I've been wanting to try Lily Sugar and Cream for a while now, and they had those available at Wool Warehouse. So this is how much I've gotten. I'm almost done. I just need to do one more repeat, and then I need to do the stitching at the bottom, add the straps, which I'm probably going to do a linen stitch for it, and then add the lining and a zipper. You don't need to do the zipper, but I saw someone else in the test knit do it with a zipper, and I thought it was so cute, and I really wanted to do it with a zipper. I do have a sewing machine. I know how to sew. Not well, but I know how to sew. So I'm probably going to ask my mom to help me with the zipper, because I've made a few bags before, and I think it would look really, really nice with a nice zipper just to complete it. I like the cotton. I think the stitch definition is really pretty, like right there. But I don't know how the cotton would feel with like on your shirt, on your skin, because this yarn reminds me a lot about Drops Paris. It's quite thick, not in a way that is too hard, but it's definitely something where if you might have sensitive skin, it could potentially irritate it, but I can't confirm that. Just be mindful that the cotton isn't as soft as other cottons that I've worked with. I'm almost done with it. It's definitely a very quick pattern, especially if you know how to do color work. But yeah, I really want to make more. She's been making a lot of patterns, and the plaid version of this bag is super cute, and you can add some more details if you wanted to. I think I'm going to stick to this though, and I'm hoping that once it's complete, once it's all knitted up, it can be my new project bag, because that would be so cute if I like knitted a bag and it's like my new knitted project bag that I could bring around when I'm out, get some coffee, sit at a cafe, start knitting up a project. It would be so cute, and I would love that. Those are all the whips that I've been working on. It doesn't feel like a lot of whips. I feel like, well, a lot of them I put on ice or that I frogged, like the blanket that I was working on for the past month or so, just because I didn't like the yarn. it wasn't great. It was off-brand yarn that I got from Hoko, and I think I'm going to start knitting a teddy bear of that yarn instead when a birthday is coming up soon. So I'll do that instead. But yeah, that is all that I want to say for my FOs and my whips. Let's move on to my favorite part, the yarn acquisitions. I've mentioned it before. I'm gonna try my very best to be on a yarn diet. I say that very loosely. Or at least I won't buy any more yarn from Wool Warehouse until August, which is my birthday month. That being said, I did get some yarn from Kite Kat. So Kite Kat, if you didn't know, is a local seller here in Brunei, and she just started hand dyeing her own yarn. It's so beautiful, but unfortunately I wasn't able to grab them while they were available, and she did, I think, one each. I personally would have gotten at least two because knitting, I want to make some tops, I want to make some garments, but I did get some yarn from her latest restock, so let me show you. So beautiful! I love it. I absolutely love it. Sorry for the crinkles. She had a deal where if you bought more than 5, or like you bought 5, you get 1 free skein, and I got some free skeins. So let's talk about the free skeins that I got, because I got 2. Because I got 10 pieces of yarn. I got 10 pieces of yarn, and so she got me 2 free skeins. These were the free skeins. It is in the shade French Macarons, and it's so pretty and so soft, and it kind of matches the top that I'm making or I'm wearing right now. I said it was okay for it to be in skeins because I know that if you cake it up, 1, it was going to take much longer for me to get it, and 2, I've heard that caking things would loosen the elasticity, and I'd rather not have that, so I decided to go in skein form. Plus it's way more easier to keep. So that is the plan. This is what it looks like. It's got a little bit of green here, a little bit of purple and orange, and it's absolutely beautiful. These, all the yarns that I got are 100% combed cotton, so it's soft, which definitely feels very soft, and it's breathable and ideal for hot weather. It is, like I said, 100% cotton, and I think each one is 170 meters. So this one says it's lightly worsted / DK, and it definitely looks much thicker than what I usually got from her, which is more of a fingering weight. I don't know if you could see that. Let's see. Something like this. Zoom in. So it looks kind of like this. And it's very beautiful. I was honestly so surprised when she gave these for free, because honestly they're so beautiful and so pretty, and I cannot wait to swatch them up. I've been meaning to knit up a swatch of these for the longest time, but I thought to myself, no, I gotta wait until I film this podcast, hence why I am filming this podcast right now so I can start on it ASAP. So we've got the French macaroons, but we also got these, and this is Charlie St. Cloud. Let me open it up. We've got 5 of these, and don't they look absolutely beautiful? They're like almost marshmallowy, and I don't know if you can see it well enough because of the lighting, but you could see here there's very soft marshmallow, almost pastel-y colors here. You've got pinks, purples, very, very light blues and purples as well. It's called Charlie St. Cloud, and it reminds me a lot of Zac Efron, and I hope that's the reason why she named it after him, because plus, like with the Awan Vest, I feel like it was just calling my name to get something called Charlie St. Cloud. He's so pretty and so fluffy. This is definitely within my color palette, because I don't know about you, but I really like fun colors. I try to avoid knitting up in darker colors, mostly because I have enough dark colors in my wardrobe that I wear I wouldn't say every day, but definitely more than I would like, and I want to incorporate more colors when I'm knitting. So this is really, really pretty. We also got another yarn from her. This is Moon and Stars, my Moon and Stars. And this is my color palette. Like straight up, I wear blues, oranges, and yellows almost every single day, and this is absolutely beautiful. We've got 5 skeins of this in Charlie St. Cloud as well. You can see over here, this is like blues. It's almost kind of like Finding Nemo. I don't know, it's giving Finding Nemo vibes. And it's so shiny too. The way that it reflects light is absolutely beautiful, and I cannot wait to work with this when the time comes. I want to knit swatch. I want to knit so many things in this yarn, and that makes me so excited. I think the next plan, once the Awan Vest is tech edited and graded, and once it's sent out, I really want to make a top very similar to this, but a few key differences, maybe something that's a bit higher neckline just because of my preference. But yeah, I'm very excited to do that. There's a lot of yarn on my desk right now. Thank you for listening to me talk about it. I'm very happy to know that you're here and that you like hearing me talk about yarn. It's really nice and sweet, and I really appreciate it. I am definitely, though, going to take a little break when it comes to purchasing. I say that now, but me in the future can say otherwise, so. But that is something to think about for another day. For now, I just want to enjoy the pieces that I have now and just enjoy what I make, and hopefully have you guys along with me for that. That is about it for today's podcast. So thank you so much once again for watching. If you like this video, please do like, comment, and subscribe. And if you went through the end of this video, then tell me, what are your plans for summer? What are you planning on knitting on? Are you making tank tops? Are you making bikini tops? Just let me know in the comments down below. And that is about it from me. My name is Bash Harry, and I will see you guys soon. Okay, bye!